Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors.
Welcome to Money Over 50. Today's topic here with Ali is consistency and compounding. Ali, what have you got for us?
Dallas. So I've started up Muay Thai again.
Yeah. Kickboxing.
Kickboxing with elbows and knees.
Yeah.
It's been about, I think, 9 years. So I've had about a 9-year break since I've even done anything like this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, geez, if I would have continued to do this for that 9 years, imagine how good I'd be.
And of course, as everything we do in life, then just flows through to, we immediately think of how does that relate to retirement planning, which is exactly the same thing. And I think there's two things to pull apart there, which is that you're 100% right. And that's why I actually like the way you've titled it, consistency and compounding. There's two things that happen here. If you're consistent, you will just achieve better results over time. If you just consistently stick at something, you will get better. But then there's also the compounding effect of that, which is, you would have seen this with guys in the gym, and I've seen it before as well, where not only do you consistently keep training, but you then end up that bit better. And so then you're training with better people, you're learning the next thing and the next thing.
Exactly.
And you actually get almost exponential growth over time of
exactly.
You're building on a much more, much bigger foundation of knowledge and of experience. And
that's right. Even so I've probably been consistent for about 3 months, and every training session I'm just as buggered, just as tired.
Yeah.
But compared to what I was doing on that first session, which was not much, I could not kick high at all.
Yeah.
And these sessions that are coming through now, I'm working a lot harder. I'm doing a lot more.
Yeah.
And every single session, I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
I am sparring with tougher people again. I'm just flowing a bit more. And I thought, geez, if I did just stick with those 9 years, it'd be phenomenal.
Just think, mate, if you had stuck at it, you could have even become a professional kickboxer and got your head beat in for a living instead of becoming a financial advisor.
Believe it or not, someone that I used to train with when I was 18, I think he was about 16 at the time, didn't know anything, but he stuck with it that whole time. He's a professional Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is not fair. I shouldn't. But
it's funny because you go, I actually wouldn't want that life. That'd be a really hard way to make a living.
But I did think about it, and I did apply it to retirement savings and retirement planning and just saving in general.
And it's funny because that's a good analogy there of, I think, so people would now see that guy who's stuck at it since he was 16 and just kept turning up, kept training, kept working hard. And people kind of go, oh, he's naturally gifted, or he's, and the equivalent there, I think, is with people where it's like people end up with a really healthy retirement savings balance, or they end up with a lot of spare money and they have the ability to live the lifestyle that they want. And it's very easy for people to turn around and go, oh, they're just like, they're good with money, or they're lucky, or they're this, or they're that. And you go, you haven't seen the fact that they started making smart financial decisions, a lot younger, and then they just got a little bit better all the time. And it's just, another muscle that they've built. It's another skill they've developed. And they're now in a far better position than what they could have sort of imagined even.
Oh, exactly. And we see clients that come in who do earn a large income and have started off in a better position, but they don't have those habits.
Yeah.
That certain clients who probably wouldn't have been given as much of a good opportunity as them, but because they've consistently worked at it and done the right things, it's really starting to pay off, and each year it pays off more and more and more.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. That's what you see with people. It's actually, and because our brain, I think I've talked about this before many times in the podcast, but our brain is not wired to really understand compounding. And so people will kind of go, if I do all these things that you're recommending in this first year, I'm only marginally better off. And so it's kind of easy to go, it's all too hard. Is it worth it? It's only going to make a small amount of difference. But the point of what you're actually trying to achieve there as the advisor is, it's not about the difference that we're making this year. It's about then the two things, which are developing really good habits and getting into the habit of doing those things. And so the good example is, we've talked about this before with super contributions. As the simple example, if you start to contribute even a very small amount of money into super, the two things that happen there is that you get that money in and it's compounding. The money itself is compounding over time. But the other one is that the next time you get a pay rise, a lot of those people are far more likely to just slightly increase the amount they're contributing into super. Whereas so the jump from not doing anything to doing something is pretty big. But then to go, well, I can just dial that up. I'm already in the habit of doing that. I already understand how it works. I'm already comfortable with it. That's a really easy thing. And so what you find is over 10 years, people get a couple of pay rises. They tweak their expenses a bit. The amount that they're saving in 10 years' time is far greater than what they were in that first year.
Yeah.
And they've had all of the amounts that they have been saving for that last 10 years is compounding, and they're getting a return on that in that 10th year. So,
yeah, it is a big thing, and a lot of people tend to forget that it does take time, and you're not going to see that straight away, but the benefits are huge if you can just consistently do that and just let that compounding.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I was reading an article about this the other day about trying to help people understand the impact of those little decisions, because I think what we've done in the past is, you go, if you save an extra X amount per week and you do that consistently for 10 years, that will be an extra X amount in 10 years time. And what this article is sort of proposing is that what you actually want to do there is then actually flow that the whole way through and say, not just will that mean that you get to that better position in 10 years' time, but again, the compounding effect of having that extra money in your retirement savings means that the income that you can draw over the next 20 to 30 years is so much higher than what you would have been able to. So it's like really trying to break that down into the actual lived experience of people and try and make that as concrete as possible, so that, because it really is just about trying to stay motivated. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with, and what you find with training is the same thing with saving for retirement. You go through plateaus, so you'll feel like you really improved, and then you'll hit a point where you feel like you're not actually getting any better for a few months. And that's actually the big... Markets
have gone down in this sense, and you're like, what's going on? I'm going backwards. Do I stop doing this?
And that's exactly what happens, is that the people in the training perspective and in the saving, the people that can go, no, I'm in this for the long haul. These little plateaus, these little bumps in the road, that's just a part of the longer journey. They're going to be able to stick to it, and they're going to then get the benefits of that compounding. It's you see it again, to use your analogy there. You see guys that come in and have a really quick improvement, and then that sort of plateau happens, and it's like they stop training until that goes away, and not realizing that you actually just have to train through that and come out the other side of it. And the same thing with, like you say, we've seen that in the last year, where we had a couple of years where people were saving, their balances were growing substantially. This last year is one that's like, for a lot of people, they've done all the right things. They've done everything the same as what they did for the 2 years leading up to it, but their balance hasn't really grown, in some cases even dropped a bit. And the people who are able to approach in that way of, I'm going to do my job, I'm going to do what I need to do, and the balance will take care of itself, they are going to end up in a really good position in 10 years' time. Yeah,
exactly. So basically, everyone should, if you want to become a professional Muay Thai fighter,
start now. Don't stop. If you're listening to a podcast called Money Over 50 and your life's journey you think is to become a professional Muay Thai fighter, I'm going to be the bad cop in this analogy. I don't think that's a real path forward for people's retirement planning.
Sure, I thought that'd be a great idea. Definitely. While you retire, join a sport where you're going to get injured every month.
So maybe not that, but maybe the rest of your point is very valid, which is that any plan, anything that you're looking at, if you're in your early 50s and you're thinking, I've got 10 years to go, or even if you're in your early 60s and you go, I've got 20 years to go in retirement, don't underestimate the importance of those two things, of making those good choices and being consistent about how you do that, and then really don't underestimate the effect of that and the benefit of that through compounding over the long term.
Definitely. I think that's a good point to wrap up.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 financial advisors. For more information and resources, visit the Money Over 50 website, mo50.com.au. We look forward to catching up again soon.